You're watching Griffon Sports Insider, presented by Spine and Sport Physical Therapy. Now, here are your hosts, Brett Easley and Ryan Menley.
Hello and welcome to GSI. Brett Easley has the day off. Lots to talk about this week, but we begin with an inspirational story out of Western. Two Griffon football players saved the life of a young boy and earned fans for life. It's one of those off-the-field stories that make on-the-field exploits seem a little less important.
Liam, look who's here.
I'm super sweaty.
I do not care.
It was an emotional reunion, especially for two sets of strangers who only briefly met 1 week earlier. But a chance meeting with Jack Long and Shane Simpson is one that Teresa Gall will never forget.
They saved his life.
That life in question, Liam Snook, Gall's 17-month-old grandson. A week before, on a hot August day after a day of babysitting, Teresa was loading up the car to take Liam home.
Put him in his car seat, threw my keys up to the front seat, hugged my sister goodbye, and realized that my car door was locked. All four doors were locked.
It took less than 2 minutes for the heat to take effect.
I just couldn't get to him. He was so red and crying and vomiting profusely. And my sister ran inside to get help. My niece went inside to get me a hammer because I wasn't going to wait. I started to beat on the door and she helped me. We had to take turns because our arms hurt so bad. And he just started getting sicker and sicker and I was panicked. He started trying to go to sleep and I'm beating on this door with a hammer. And I said, oh, please, God, send somebody to help me.
At about that same time, Shane Simpson and Jack Long were getting off of football practice. Riding together, they decided to take a different route home.
We just saw there was a woman with a hammer in her hand and she was tagging at the window, so we slowed down. We're like, wow, that's awkward. Probably locked her keys in her car. Kept driving for a second, then we were like, wait, we should go back. That looks way too much, that they're just trying to beat their window out.
The lady came, before we could even open the door, the lady came running and said she needed help, and she said there's a baby stuck in the car, so.
He just took one swoop or hit with the hammer, and it busted. And I got him out, got him in my sister's house.
And amidst the melee, the two quietly went on their way, but later decided to return.
We went back to, make sure they were all right.
They came back 30 minutes later to check on him because they knew about heat stroke and they were worried about the little guy. That's what they told us.
Which leads back to this moment, a chance for the entire family to say thank you. Gall had wanted to add a monetary thank you. Simpson and Long declined. They had another suggestion.
We just told her to come out and watch the Griffon game, man.
So, of course, my family, my extended family, we're all coming to the game.
Teresa Gall admits she doesn't know anything about football, but she says she'll be a Griffon football fan for life. And by the looks of it, there may be a future football player in the family.
Yeah, you like that? Any decent human being out there probably would have done the same thing.
Every time I see them, I will say thank you. I can't imagine life without my grandson and what could have happened. And I'm eternally grateful to them.
Simpson and Long are two of the captains on this Griffon football team. Meanwhile, Teresa, Liam, and the rest of the extended family made good on their promise and showed up for the game Thursday night. Unfortunately, the game's outcome did not provide a happy ending. The Griffons had a season-opening wake-up call at the hands of Pittsburgh State.
Missouri Western football season opener, home opener, MIAA conference opener against Pittsburgh State. It was not the kind of opening anything the Griffons expected. First quarter, Scott Groner, the Australian, playing the first football game of his life. He had a great night punting, but this is not the result that he wanted right here. John Brown takes the return, has blockers, has open spaces, and he is gone. 84 yards to the house, 7-0 Pitt after 4 minutes of play. The Gorilla O brought the A game on the ground into the first. Quarterback Zach Dickey fakes everyone out, keeps it himself, and goes up the gut 44 yards to the end zone. 14-0 now. Sophomore Travis Partridge getting his first ever start at quarterback, and he took some licks. Goes one way, helmet goes the other. Later, it's the same thing. Partridge was sacked 5 times in this game. Second quarter, he's going to be hit again and fumbles. Pitt will recover, and that would lead to this. Solomon Watkins on the outside. The Gorillas rushed for 312 yards on the night. They take a 28-0 lead to halftime. Western wouldn't get on the board until the fourth quarter. Dom Thomas with a beautiful 60-yard touchdown run. but it's not enough. The Griffs drop the opener, 34-7 the final. A tough night for the men in black.
It's very frustrating. They just, like I said, smash mouth, and you just don't know where they're going to come from. Very frustrating.
No one group can point at each other today. When you only put up 7 points in a football game, there's a lot of people doing things wrong. And as an offense, we've really got to come together and get in that film room tomorrow and really decide, hey, are we gonna be sorry all year, or are we gonna be a good offense?
And joining us right now is head coach Jerry Partridge. Your son said it all in the post game, a rough night for him and really a rough night for the entire Griffon team last Thursday.
Yeah, a night to, I guess, forget and remember, with some of the things that went into it. I don't think that as a coach, you feel like you're ready to go first game. Things happened right off the bat that just hurt us. We got in a hole and it was difficult to dig out of. We give up the punt return for a touchdown right off the bat. Got to cover it better. Got to make some plays, but there were a couple of blocks that were illegal that should have been called. We never got it done up front offensively. I think that we got out physical up front. That group is a talented group that can be very good, and Thursday night they kind of got handled.
It does seem like you ran into a much more physical team, which really, in the 10 years I've seen this Griffon football team played, I don't think I've ever seen you guys get dominated like that in a game.
I think certainly that side of it. I think their D-line was very, very physical. They had a couple bull mooses in there knocking people around and being nasty and mean. And I think it's more of an attitude and a mindset. And I think that those kids can do it, and they will do it. I think there's no question. We were here last year, really. I think that's what happened at Missouri Southern. And we rose up and played like we're supposed to the rest of the way. So we got very good offensive coaches that will find a way, and there's very good football players in the line, and they're going to find a way to get it done.
How would you grade Travis Partridge's performance?
I think C+ to B-. I don't think he played that poorly. I think sometimes when things happen, it's easy to blame the head coach and the quarterback. In this case, it
happens to be the father and the son.
Same family, yeah. So, but I think his grade for toughness was A. I mean, he got pummeled and continued to get up and fought and never blamed. And I think even in post-game comments, you saw there was never blame. And there's probably once or twice that probably she got rid of it. I think the general theme in the media the next day was he misreads, but I didn't know they were coaching those schemes. I don't know what the reads are. He missed on a couple things where he held it long. No, he's got to play better, and I think he will. But I think it all starts on offense up front, and that's where we got to play better. I think all those kids know that too.
And not to make excuses, you said you didn't want to make excuses, but this happened. Your headsets go out, and there's really no communication for much of the football game between you and the coordinators.
Horrible communication. We couldn't make any adjustments. There was no conversation back and forth, so some of the things were happening on the field. We really couldn't get it, communicated. At one point, Tyler Fenwick and Aaron Bell are talking on their cell phones back and forth. Their O-line coach was never on the headsets the whole football game. They're talking about cell phones, and they could hear cheerleader cheering, bleeding in. It was a very difficult game to coach, and against a good opponent too. But it was a very difficult game to coach.
That means the cheerleaders are cheering loud, so at least they're doing their job there.
That's a plus. Great job, guys.
That's a good thing. Bright spot in this game, one of the few, is your punter, Scott Groner from Australia. He came to Western to play baseball. He never played American football before Thursday night and averaged about 50 yards a punt. He punted probably way too much, of course, but when he did get it off, he really pinned those guys back.
Probably need to be in the ice tub. I don't know, but he did a great job. I thought he hit it well. We were hoping that would happen. There's some funny sidelights. He took his helmet off at one point. I guess we just haven't covered everything. You can't take your helmet off. The other thing he asked Jay, was it legal for him to tackle those guys? He thought the punters just had to kick and couldn't tackle. So he's a great kid, and he did a nice job.
So he is aware he can tackle now.
I think we've got that coached up. Whether he's going to be able to tackle or not, I don't know, but I think he's aware at least that he can do it. He got over there kind of in the guy's way. I don't know whether he was just trying to corral him out of bounds or what he was doing.
Greg Zerline, the other part of your kicking game, your field goal kicker, your place kicker, All-American transfer from UNO, didn't play. What's his status?
He's got a right quad injury. I mean, I don't know exactly. And I talked to him this morning, and it's still not where it needs to be. So we're very concerned about it right now.
So what do you do now? I mean, what are we going to see?
Well, I think it's a battle between Taylor Anderson, who ended up doing the kicking, and John Schmiemeyer.
And you've redshirted John Schmiemeyer.
Well,
that was a plan, right?
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
Redshirting is not an official thing.
Right. You either play him or you don't. Yeah. But I know that's something you'd like to save him for, right?
We could potentially, but if he ends up winning that job, he ends up winning that job. But I hope Greg will be back soon.
For University of Central Missouri next week, we'll talk about the Mules when GSI comes back.
He once helped a man with back pain by teaching him how to blow up a balloon with his hamstring. He gets superhuman strength just by putting on his shoes. He once helped a zebra's hip by realigning his stripes. He is the most helpful physical therapist in the world.
I don't always go to physical therapy, but when I do, I prefer Spine and Sport.
Spine and Sport. Stay healthy, my friends.
Success is not measured by the size of your house. It comes from deep within inside you. It starts and ends with focus. Lock in, win the next inch, win the next yard, win the next play. Do it. Good. Now do it again and again. Keep fighting, and no matter what, keep moving forward. At some point, we will fall, but we will get right back up and keep coming. If we can keep that focus, if we can keep that drive, then we will never fail. That's character. That's a team. That is family. This is Griffon football. Missouri Western wins.
Before last season, Missouri Western owned Central Missouri. The Griffons beat the Mules 7 straight times before falling in Warrensburg last year. They meet again this Saturday night in St. Joseph. Welcome back to GSI. Western Central, a battle of two NCAA playoff teams from a year ago. The Mules 1-0 after beating Missouri Southern 42-24 in Week 1. Coach Jerry Partridge, way too early to call this a must-win, but it is a conference game. Every conference game is big. This would be a big win.
Based on past history, this conference race is over already. We've already lost it by one conference loss. But it's a must-win because it's the week in front. It's the week in front of us. It's the game. It's what we're practicing for. So we want to win that game. I think sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and certainly we did not get a great break in our schedule. But we got to play them, and it's a different kind of opponent. A lot more of the speed element and passing game. Hopefully it won't be as physical on defense, but they do have some really good D linemen. That's what's scary a little bit.
Well, you hit on that. A lot of new faces on both sides of the ball for the Mules, and this is going to be basically the complete opposite of Pittsburgh State. They're going to throw it a lot. You've got a pretty good secondary, too, that's been traditionally pretty good for you in the last couple of years.
Well, we have a lot of faith in our safeties. Corner-wise, I think there's some kids playing pretty well. They're going to be up to the task. I think Central will throw it probably deep 5 times a half, so we have to be ready for that. They like Pitt, they try to get the big play. They try to lull you to sleep with underneath stuff, and the run game is more if you're screwing around dropping, we're gonna run it one time. Even the standard run plays are almost like draws the way it sets up. Huge screen bunch. They've always been that way. This kind of sets up for our D line. I think they're kind of very aggressive pass rush types.
And now offensively, what do you need to do differently? Because you know the Central team is a team that can put up points. They are going to be hard to stop. You may have to hang with them for a little bit.
Well, I hope we don't have to hang with them. I hope we do a good job of stopping them. But the offensive line needs to be more physical. They have an Oregon transfer. It's a big brute that supposedly benches 225 51 times. They have a DN that's very athletic. They'll put it linebacker. They'll put it DN. So they have some guys that are pretty good football players. I mean, this is just as good a football team as we just faced. And so we can't have some mistakes. We got to shore up the special team stuff. And one thing we didn't talk about last week, we had 140 yards of penalties. That can't happen. It's going to beat you every time.
That's Jerry Partridge. Right. Game is Saturday night, Spratt Stadium, 6 o'clock. Hope to see you out there. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Western safety Jack Long. Come out this Saturday and see the Griffons take on Central Missouri. It's family day at Spratt Stadium, Saturday, September 10th at 6 p.m. It's a great time to be a Griffon.
I'm Fred Schunkweiler. I'm a physical therapist. I own Spine and Sport Physical Therapy. We treat athletes, we specialize in that, but the industrial athlete is somebody that gets hurt at work.
I'm a police detective with the City of St. Joseph.
I'm a welder.
I had shoulder surgery.
And ended up having to have back surgery.
Professional athletes, they make a livelihood on the field. Well, an industrial athlete, they make their ends meet at work every day. And if you get injured at work, you want to get back to work as fast as you can so you don't miss a paycheck. And we specialize in that, and we have the resources and the facilities to help you get back to work faster. That's what the pool does.
And the pool, I attribute the pool to a lot of the recovery and the speedy recovery to get me back to work quicker. You know, I need to be back at work.
Therapy was wonderful, about 8 weeks straight of it, and I'm great. I'm back to work, 100%, no pain at all. It is different. They take a different approach to it, but they help, and it works because they care, and they work really hard to get you back. They did a great job.
Spine and Sport Physical Therapy, your first choice, the right choice.
Welcome back. Missouri Western's search for a new athletic director hits the home stretch. The field has been narrowed down to a final 4. They include a familiar Griffon face and some Big 12 flavor. Finalist number 1, Mark Allnut, a senior associate AD at the University of Missouri. He's also a former Mizzou football player. Kurt McGuffin is an associate AD at the University of Colorado. Before that, he served in a similar role at Kansas State. Finalist number 3, Jeremy McLean. He is the athletic director at Division II Delta State University in Mississippi. And finally, Don Caverman, hoping for a second stint here. Caverman was Western's AD from 1995 to 1999. He left and spent 10 years as the AD at Southeast Missouri State and is currently the athletic director at Harris Stowe State University in St. Louis. For more info on the candidates, you can go to our website, gogriffons.com. Meanwhile, Griffon Soccer opened the Coach Chad Edwards era last weekend by going 1-1 in the GAC MIAA Challenge in Ada, Oklahoma. The Griffons dropped their season opener with a heartbreaking 3-2 overtime loss to East Central Saturday, but came back for a 2-0 win against Southwest Oklahoma State Sunday. True freshman Casey Ramsell scored all 4 Griffon goals on the weekend. That's not bad. Meanwhile, Griffon Volleyball sits at 2-2 on the young season. They opened shop at the Lady Buff Classic in Canyon, Texas. Coach Corey Frederick deliberately put together a tougher regional schedule early on in the season to get his young team battle-tested for conference play.
We've got a lot of teams that last year were top 25 in the nation. We have them early season in some of our tournaments. That's going to make it difficult on the win-loss side of the ball, but that experience is something that's going to pay off for them in the long run.
It's a meet and greet with a unique twist. Every new school year, every single Missouri Western student athlete gathers under one roof for a little athletic bonding and competition.
Well, tonight was the Student Athlete Advisory Committee's Athletes Supporting Athletes program, and what that is just a night where all the athletes can get together, participate in a few icebreakers, a few activities. The grand finale of the whole evening was our annual pie eating contest. Every sport submits one participant, and they just have to, without using their hands, eat the entire pie.
What's your secret to success here? How do you get through a pie like that quickly?
Yeah, with appetite. That's all.
You had already won and you were still trying to eat it.
I was hungry.
That was freshman basketball player Tevin Harris. Go hungry or go home. For now, you can grab a snack because GSI will be right back. Go ahead, go, right now. He was an All-American golfer in the mid-2000s, and now former Griffon Bryce Garnett is continuing his success at the professional level. Garnett won his first 2 career tournaments this summer on the eGolf Pro Tour. Think of eGolf as a minor league of the PGA. Next up for Bryce, he'll take a swing at earning his PGA Tour card later this fall. Welcome back to GSI, presented by Spine and Sport Physical Therapy. Time now for some unique training and an odd question. How do balloons, breathing, and volleyball kill shots mix? Western sports performance consultant Fred Schunkweiler explains this unique exercise in this week's Train Like the Pros.
All right, we're here with Griffon volleyball player Alex Binke, talking today about a warm-up routine pre-match for volleyball players. Volleyball is an intense exercise sport for shoulders, and we often forget about air pressure in the lung underneath that scapula. So today we're going to prepare that right shoulder for Alex here pre-match in order to prevent injuries while she's spiking and serving. So we're going to put Alex into a squat position. She's going to load these quadriceps and hamstrings and get the back into flexion. She's going to put a balloon in her mouth. We're going to work the rib cage by having ribs roll, and that we want that to be more on the exhale. So a balloon adds resistance to that. She's going to breathe in through her nose. As she reaches with her right hand, she blows up that balloon, and what that does is it rotates those rib cage, that rib underneath her right shoulder, so that we have a disassociated shoulder from her rib. She'll breathe in. She'll reach again. She's feeling a great stretch right through her right shoulder, great stretch through her back. The breathing is helping the ribs rotate. One more time. Awesome job, Alex. She's going to come back up. That is an awesome way to warm up that shoulder before a match to prevent injuries. And to do that, come to Spine and Sport, train like the pros.
Hi, I'm Western safety Jack Long. Come out this Saturday and see the Griffons take on Central Missouri. It's family day at Spratt Stadium. Saturday, September 10th at 6 p.m. It's a great time to be a Griffon.
Brett Easley reporting live on site at Griffon Sports Insider. We're at the home football opener. And folks, what would football game day be without a tailgate? We're with my good buddy Scott Graham, Gold Coat Board of Directors, Hall of Fame member here at Missouri Western. Scott, tell folks what you got on the grill for us here today.
We've got some Johnsonville bratwursts, and you can see that they're getting awfully close to being ready to be cooked. They are going to be cooked and they are going to be eaten.
Now, Scott, another important part of this conversation. Folks say there's a guy standing next to me with a Pitt State shirt on. Give us a little background information what's going on there.
This is Bob Long. Bob Long played at Pitt State at the same time frame that I did and was one of their star players. He was a running back for them, and happily I can say that we did win the game that we played against them. But he is a legend down there, and we have, over the years, have gotten together at the Missouri Western Pitt games.
Not only do we have a tailgate and a rivalry, but we've got a traveling trophy. Tell us about the traveling trophy.
We've named it the Bucket Bowl.
The Bucket Bowl.
Over the last year,
it's on our bucket
several
list.
Bucket lists. Anyway, whoever wins it, we're going to have it engraved and gets to display it proudly on their sports bar at their house. Hopefully I've dusted off the place.
Well, let's not get too close to this, Bob. You don't get to get too close to this. Folks, come on out and tailgate at our next Griffon game. Good bratwurst here tonight. We'll be at home again September 10th against Central Missouri. We want to see a lot of smoke, good aroma, and build a great game day atmosphere. For Griffon Sports Insider, this is Brett Easley.
And that's why Brett's off this week. He went to the tailgate and never returned. By the way, he won last week's college football pick'em segment. Brett went 7-1, I went 6-2. I picked KU to lose to McNeese State. That was my downfall. Pick'ems resume when Brett returns next week, if he ever comes back. Western football hosts Central Saturday night, 6 p.m. at Spratt Stadium. Hope to see you there. Meantime, check us out all the time online at GoGriffons.com. That's GSI. Go Griffs.